Israel vs Iran, whose side is Russia on Putin's Middle East conflict act, explained even as Israel and Iran continue to fight over the latter's nuclear program, two other countries remain deeply engaged in the conflict: the United States, US and Russia. While the US is open yet cautious in its support for Israel, Russia is treading a fine line. Amid the rising Iran-Israel conflict, Russian President Vladimir Putin got on separate phone calls with Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian. Putin and US President Donald Trump also discussed the escalating situation in the Middle East on phone on Saturday. Putin's foreign affairs advisor Yuri Ushakov said the Kremlin leader emphasized Russia's readiness to carry out mediation efforts, and noted it had proposed steps aimed at finding mutually acceptable agreements during US-Iran negotiations on the Iranian nuclear program. Russia has managed a balancing act in the Middle East for decades, handling its warm relations with Israel even as it has developed strong economic and military ties with Iran. Russia and Israel have built a close political, economic, and cultural relationship that helped them tackle delicate and divisive issues, including developments in Syria. It survived a tough test in 2018, when a Russian military reconnaissance aircraft was shot down by Syrian forces responding to an Israeli airstrike, killing all 15 people aboard. Even though Russia supplied Iran with sophisticated S-300 air defense missile systems, which Israel said were taken out during its strikes last year on Iran, Moscow dragged its feet on deliveries of other weapons in an apparent response to Israeli worries. Israel, in its turn, appeared to take Moscow's interests into account by showing little enthusiasm for providing Ukraine with weapons in the three-year-old war. The Kremlin's friendly ties with Israel fueled discontent in Tehran. In his call with Netanyahu, Putin emphasized the importance of returning to the negotiation process and resolving all issues related to the Iranian nuclear program exclusively through political and diplomatic means, and he offered his mediation in order to prevent further escalation of tensions, the Kremlin said in a readout. Russia ties warmed quickly after the USSR's demise in 1991, when Moscow became an important trade partner and a top supplier of weapons and technology to Iran as it faced international sanctions. Russia built Iran's first nuclear power plant in the port of Bushehr that became operational in 2013. Russia was part of the 2015 deal between Iran and 6 nuclear powers, offering sanctions relief for Tehran in exchange for curbing its atomic program and opening it to broader international scrutiny. It offered political support when the US unilaterally withdrew from the agreement during Trump's first term. After a civil war in Syria erupted in 2011, Russia and Iran helped Bashar Assad reclaim most of the country but failed to prevent a swift collapse of his rule in December 2024 after a lightning opposition offensive. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian and Russian President Vladimir Putin discussed the progress of talks between Iran and the United States, the Kremlin said on Tuesday. Putin said Russia is ready to facilitate dialogue between Iran and the US to reach a fair agreement. Iran International English Iran_on May 6, 2025 On January 2025, Russia and Iran signed a comprehensive strategic partnership, aiming to enhance cooperation in areas such as defense, energy, and counterterrorism. Moscow in April ratified a strategic partnership agreement with Iran that includes provisions for both countries to counter shared threats, but does not create any kind of military alliance. Despite the agreement, Russia continued to express concerns over Iran's growing influence in Syria, reflecting Moscow's desire to balance its relationships in the region. In the ongoing conflict too, Moscow hasn't issued any signal that it could offer anything beyond political support to Tehran. In his call with Pezeshkian, Putin condemned the Israeli strikes and offered his condolences. He noted that Russia has put forward specific initiatives aimed at resolving the situation around the Iranian nuclear program. Russia's foreign ministry issued a strongly worded statement condemning the Israeli strikes as categorically unacceptable and warning that all the consequences of this provocation will fall on the Israeli leadership. It urged both parties to exercise restraint in order to prevent further escalation of tensions and keep the region from sliding into a full-scale war. Nananan swipe left for next video. Nanan with AP inputs latest blogs. Nananananananananananananan